Hello, today I'll be teaching you how to tape a flag. If your flag is already pre-taped, take a second to untape it. I will be using some magic. Ta-da! Okay, now that our flag is all untaped, the things you'll need are 2 bolts, 2 tips, black tape. I'm going to use white and black for the purpose of this video. You can use both if you would like, but you'll mostly need black tape. Scissors if you can't rip tape like me, a ruler, a silver Sharpie, a pole, and some silk. So, to start, we're going to start with the bolts. You're going to take your white tape, or any color, because this part's going inside the flag, so it's not going to really matter. And you're going to take it, and you're going to wrap it once around the top. Okay, I'll show you closer in a second on the second bolt. I'm just going to talk you through it on this first one, and then I'll show you how to do it on the second one. Okay, so you just wrap it once around, and then you just push down the edges. Then you're going to go to the bottom of the bolt and wrap it around. I do about 3 times. Doesn't really matter how many you do. Boom. First bolt done. Alright, so now I'm going to show you up close. So you take your tape, take your tip, and you're just going to press it and wrap it all the way around and just chop it off. So then it's like that, and you wrapped it one time all the way around. Then you go to the bottom, take another piece, wrap it on the bottom, all the way around, about 3 times. Now you don't want it to be exactly on the bottom. See how I left a little piece of, it's like sticking out? That's how you want it. So that is our second finished bolt. Alright, now the next step is our tips. We're going to just tape our tips. Again, I will just do this really quick, talk through it, and then I'll show you it up close. So you're going to take it and you're going to make an X over the top, like this. I'm just going to make a quick X on the top. And then from there you're going to have 4 bare corners, and you're going to want to cover those up. So you're going to make another X going the other way, covering the bare corners. And then your tip is complete. Just finish this corner, boom, 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 and your tip is done. Alrighty, so for the tip, I've already pre-cut my piece of tape, so it'll be easier to show. You just go right over across the top, like that. And then you make an X, like I just said. And it's okay if the tape aren't perfect. Like I cut this one too short, but that's okay as long as it covers all the way across the top. Now you're gonna cover the bare spots. And what I mean by bare spots is, if you can tell, there's a little, that part doesn't have tape yet. So that's what we need to cover. Boom. Your tip is now complete. Alright, so now that we've finished both tips, both bolts, we're going to push everything else to the side except for our ruler, our black tape, and our scissors. So on a pole there are 4 tapes, 2 under the silk and 2 out of the silk. So we got to put those on. So each tape is 12 inches apart, and it is 12 from the, like where the tip will go. So it'll be about there. It's just like that much away from the end. So you line it on up and put a piece of tape there. Now this, you wrap it around about 3 to 4 times is what I would say. If you do more, that's okay. You can do more. I wouldn't suggest doing less. And then from there, from that piece of tape, you're just going to measure once more to the next one, like so. I'm going to wrap around. Then you're going to go to the other side. Ooh, can you see? Just going to measure that there. 12 inches. Now the ones that are under the silk, I tend to do 4 or more because you have to feel them, you can't see them. So I tend to wrap it around 4 times. Again, you can do more or less. I wouldn't do lower than 3 though, and I wouldn't do more than 5. So somewhere between there. Alrighty, you have just finished your tapes. Time for the next step. Alright, now I'm going to put my bolts in. So I'm going to call this side the bottom of my flag. So you put the smaller bolt in the bottom, okay? Then you're going to take it and you're going to make an X just like you did for the tips, right over top of the bolt. Just an X. Doesn't have to be perfect, this will go under the tip. Like that. You just an X over top. Then from there, you're going to wrap one piece of tape all the way around the bolts to make sure that it's secure and stays in place. Like so. I just wrapped a piece of tape right around the edge. Okay. Then you're going to take your tip, push it onto the pole. I always do this just for safety, just because I'm not that strong, so I do that. Then you're going to take your black tape, and you're going to start at the very top, right at the very top, and you're just going to start wrapping all the way down. You're just going to wrap, wrapping. Then, once you get to the pole, I've wrapped just one tape length down. So then you're going to go back up, just real quick, doesn't have to be perfect. Boom. Done. Cut the tape. You have just finished the bottom tip. So it will look like that. Alrighty, now we're going to move on to the top part of the pole. So now we take our silk. Our silk has a long side, or a tail, as we like to call it. And as you can tell, this part's the tail, because it's longer than the top. I don't know if you can see it. Sorry, I'm covering my face. So that part's the tail, and you want that to be at the bottom. So you're going to put this side through, pull it all the way on, like that. And just like we did for the other one, you're going to put your tip in, so your bolt, going to put your bolt in, and you're going to put an X over the bolt. Make sure the X is tight, so you don't want it loose, you want to pull it really tight. I'm going to do the other side to make it an X. Pull it really tight across, chop it off. Then you're going to put, sorry, not that. Then you're going to put a piece of tape circling across just like we did on the other one. So do the bolts exactly like the other side. Now you're going to put the tip on just like we did before, pressing really hard to make sure it stays. I always do this to make sure it stays. Then you're going to take your black tape. Now you have to have black because this part is shown. And you're just going to pull down the silk, find the tab. So this is a tab. And you're going to put it right to the end of the thing. Not on top of it. That's not to the top of it. You're going to put it to the bottom of it. That's a big mistake that a lot of people do. You put it right to the bottom of it, okay? So then you're going to take your black tape. This is something I always do. You don't have to do this, but I really suggest it because sometimes the silk will fall off the pole, and I've never had it fall off when I do this. So I take the piece of tape, put it on my finger as I put my finger through the tab, and you're just going to slide it through and then place it down. So now you have it through the tab, and then you wrap it one time around, just once. Chop it off, and you're done with that part. So then you're going to slide the silk back up to cover it up. Then you're going to start at the top of the tip, just like we did on the other side. And just going to start pulling the tape around. Just like we did for the other bolt, except this time we have a silk, so we have to be a little more cautious. You're going to take it and you're just going to start covering the silk. I usually go about a tape, maybe 2 tapes length down. No more than that. That is plenty. Then you're going to come back up just like we did on the other side. And there you have it. You have just done your top tip. So it should look like this. Alright, now you're going to look at your pole and you're going to start up here where the tab stitching is. And you're going to make sure it's a straight line from tab stitch to tab stitch. Make sure this seam right here is in a straight line, because if it's all crooked, say it's like that, it's going to be bad. So make sure that's in a straight line for this next step. Okay, so you are going to do the exact same thing that you did with the tab before. If you like to do it the way that I did it, where I put my pointer finger through, then put the piece of tape on your pointer finger, and then pull it through and tape it down, go for it. If you don't like that, you can just do it 2 times around. It does the same thing. I just think it's more secure this way. Done. Okay, so now you're going to do the tab. Like this is actually the tab. You're going to start in the silk, and you're just going to wrap. I always hold it down. And you're going to wrap all the way up and around, just like we did for the tip, except you're not going to come back up. You just go down to there. Again, you go 1 to 2 tape lengths away from the tab, and that is the tab. All right, last step. You're going to take your silver Sharpie. It has to be silver because black does not show up on black. And you're going to write your initials at the top. So mine is ER. And then you're going to write your name small, not huge, because you don't want to be able to see it in like pictures and stuff like that. You just want to be able to read it. So there you go. There's my name. Woo. There's my initials. And then you do that on the other side. And then you're all done. But you're going to want to rewrite this often because silver Sharpie tends to come off very quickly. And there you have it. You have just taped your flag. Congratulations.